Hello viewers, I'm Kausalya. Today we are going to solve the problems related with dual network. So here the problem is construct the dual network for the given circuit and this is the given circuit diagram. Right. So the first step is you have to count how many loops are there. So here first loop, second loop and third loop. So totally we are going to place 3 dots in each loop and apart from that we will be having a reference dot. Right. So that is the thing which is done here. So totally 3 loops, so 3 dots, dot 1, dot 2, dot 3 and that is a reference dot. Right. Now the next thing is you have to connect your first dot to the second dot and second dot to the third dot and finally each dots will be connected to the reference dot. Right. So the main thing to be noted here is each node, while connecting with the other node, it should connect via some elements. For example, you see node 1 is connected with node 2 through resistor and 2 is connected with 3 through inductor. Right. So the remaining thing is, you see, to the node 3 is connected to the ground node by a capacitor as well as by a current source. And here again node 2 is connected to reference node by R3 and similarly you see node 1, it has many elements within it, that is loop 1 has many elements. So you see this resistor R1, this switch, this input voltage source and this L1, all these 4 elements are connected to this reference node. Right. So this is your next step. So after completing this step, the main thing to be noted is while drawing the dual network, right, for resistors we have to take the reciprocal. Right. And the next thing is capacitor will be represented as inductors and inductors will be represented as a capacitors. And voltage source will become current source and current source will become voltage source. The switch will remain as such. Right. So first you have to mark the respective nodes here. So the first step is just mark the nodes 1, 2 and 3 with the reference node here. Right. So now the thing is between 1 and 2, that is 1 is connected to 2 by a resistor R2. Right. So here again between node 1 and 2, right, we are having a resistor. So here we have to take the reciprocal, we have to represent it in the form of conductance. So here it is 1 by R2. Right. Now between your 2 and 3, there is an inductor. Right. So this inductor should be replaced by a capacitor. So between 2 and 3, you see here we are having a capacitor. Right. Now first we will finish off with our dot 3. So here we are having a capacitor which is connected to the reference node. So capacitor should be represented as an inductor of value L. So here you see between your node 3 and reference node there is an inductor whose value is L. Right. And the next thing is here we are having a current source. Now the current source should be replaced with the voltage source and this voltage source should be connected between your node 3 and node 0. So here we have represented, you see here we are having a voltage source between node 3 and your reference node. Right. And since the direction of the current is downwards, right, so here it is represented as minus plus. Right. That is the current flows from lower potential to the higher potential. Right. Now we have completed this part and we have finished this part. Now we are going to the node 1 or dot 1. So to this node 1, sorry, dot 1, you see here we are having a voltage source. So in dual network, this voltage source should be represented as a current source. Right. So between node 1 and node 0, okay, between node 1 and this reference node, we are having a current source. Right. Now the next thing is, you see here we are having a switch. Right. So the elements in parallel will occur as elements, sorry, the elements in series will occur as elements in parallel. So here you see all these 4 elements are in series. So while representing, all these 4 elements should be parallel to each other. So now we have drawn the current source. The next one is switch. Right. So now the switch is drawn parallelly between your node 1 and your reference node. Now the next thing is again here we are having a resistor R1. So this resistor R1 is connected between your dot 1 and dot 0, and it is represented as 1 by R1, right? And finally, you see here we are having an inductor L1, and this L1 is represented as a capacitor C1, right? Now we have completed this circuit, and after completing the circuit, just you can check. So while checking, you see to this loop, okay, consider this loop 1. How many elements are present here? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, right? So similarly to your node 1, you should be having 5 elements. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and here it is your 5th element, right? And similarly, when you look at your loop 2, we are having 3 elements, right? So again to this node 2, you will be having 3 elements, right? This is your 1, 2 and 3. And finally to your node 3, again here we are having 3 elements. So here to this node 3, you see 1, 2 and 3, right? So this is a way to cross check, and this problem gets over here. Now we will continue with our next problem. Draw the dual of the network shown in figure. So here this is your network and we have to draw the dual of it. So how many loops are present in this network? You see this is your loop 1, this is your loop 2 and this is your loop 3. So totally 3 elements are present here. So here we will be having 3 dots, and apart from that there will be our reference dot, right? So name the dots accordingly, 1, 2 and 3, right? And you have to connect one dot to other dot via some elements. Okay, these are all the basic rules. So 1 and 2 is connected by a resistor, and 2 and 3 is again connected by a resistor, right? So here the thing is, you see here we are having a node 3, right? So node 3 and node 1 are connected by a capacitor here because there is no other way to move, right? So we have to connect this node 3 and node 1 by a capacitor. And finally you see this C1 is connected to this reference node and this L is connected to this reference node. And finally this voltage source is connected to the reference node, right? Now we are going to draw the dual network. As we all know, the dual of voltage source is a current source, resistor is conductant, right? Conductance is nothing but, resistance is conductance. So it is, we have to take the reciprocal of the resistance values, and capacitor is represented as inductor and inductor is represented as a capacitor, right? So you see, place the dots. Okay, we are having 3 loops. So 1, 2 and 3 dots. Apart from that, there is a reference dot, right? So 1 and 2 are connected by a resistance R1. So here you see 1 and 2 are connected by resistance. The value is 1 by R1. And again 2 and 3 are connected by resistance R2. So here it is represented as 1 by R2. Right, and again you see 1 and 3 are connected by a capacitor C2. So here node 1 and node 3 are connected by an inductor. Here it is C2, right? Therefore it is represented as L2, right? And when you look at this node 2, you see here we are having a capacitor C1. It is connected to the ground, right? So this C1 is represented as L1 and it is connected to the reference. And again here we are having a capacitor C1, right? It is connected between your node 2 and reference. So here between node 2 and reference, we are representing it as an inductor L1. And finally, you see here we are having a voltage source, and this voltage source is replaced by a current source, and this is connected between node 1 and 0. So here between your node 1 and reference node, there is a current source, right? So this is the final form of the network. So that's all. If you have any doubt, let me know in the comment section. Thank you.